Niv Mizzet Parun versus the Scarab God. We have ramp in hand, which is what we need, so we're going to keep that. And that will be a turn 2 mana crypt into Thran Dynamo. So we'll take a tap land off the Polluted Delta, which will be a Steam Vents. Don't need much red in this deck. It's the more islands we can get into play, the better, because it works well with our High Tide Turnabout Storm style combo. Don't have any Storm cards in the deck, but we do use that similar type of tactic to copy lots of instants and sorceries. We'll go in for our Grand Dynamo here and hope that we draw into something big next turn. Will be the Volcanic Island, which counts as an island, of course. And then see if our opponent counters Mana Crypt. Nope, they are yielded. F6. So we'll pass turn to our opponent with that. And I'm half expecting our opponent to quit there. If you ever get an opponent that gets out lots of ramp like this, don't just quit automatically, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do anything with it. I mean, look at our hand. We have a grip full of lands here, and I bet we're about to draw into another land. No, Mystic Retrieval does nothing, but might do something later on. And unfortunately, because the problem I've had with this deck is trying to make Niv Mizzet Parun actually do something relevant, and it's so difficult to get out. I didn't want to put all my mana rocks into just getting out Niv Mizzet, because you would have to run all the slow tapped coloured mana rocks, and Niv Mizzet still dies when he comes out, assuming that you don't have any counter magic in hand. So playing the slow mana rocks just to get Niv Mizzet out, just for him to die anyway, just seems counterintuitive to me. We can, I think, go for... Yeah, we can go for our commander here, so see if our opponent actually has any counter magic. Yeah, they shouldn't counter that. They should counter the Niv Mizzet. If they have it, that is. And they do not, so we'll pass the turn, and that's actually one of the quicker Niv Mizzet casts that you can expect in this deck. Nothing to stop us going for a Mystic Retrieval onto the Desperate Ritual. We'll see what our opponent does with the 4 open mana. Ancient Excavation is a way to discard their hand. They draw cards equal to the number of cards in their hand, then discard a card for each card drawn this way. They can really filter through their hand. Or it has basic land cycling, and because they've cast that, we can go for our 1 ping of damage off our card draw. Niv Mizzet is 6 mana for a flying 5/5 uncounterable dragon. And whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, we draw a card. And then whenever we draw a card, we can deal damage to any target. So our opponent casting the instant Ancient Excavation gives us a mana drain, which will be great for the Scarab God next turn. And we'll see what our opponent wants to put into the bin. They have drawn 6 cards by the looks of it, so they now have to discard 6 cards, which you have to assume is just lots of creature spells that can be reanimated with Scarab God. Scarab God is a 5/5 Dimir 5 mana god. At the beginning of your upkeep, for each opponent loses X life, and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. And for 4, you can exile a creature card from your graveyard, and it enters as a 4/4, or a copy enters as a 4/4 zombie. Let's go for tails on that. And we lost the flip, unfortunately. We draw a card at the beginning of our turn, so we get to ping our opponent for another point of damage. I think we will go for... yeah, we'll go for an island there. And then we can Wheel of Fate get that on the go. And probably go for Mystic Retrieval on the mana drain next turn. So let's see if we can get through. Our opponent might have the Pact of the Slaughter, I think it's called. The 0 mana black kill spell. We do have mana drain, so we have the answer for that. And didn't actually look at what our opponent discarded either. They discarded Sphinx of Un, Chancellor of the Spires, Impulsive Research, and the Ancient Excavation is in there as well. This is an excellent card that's just been printed in Guilds of Ravnica. A new Merciless Executioner. That is going to force us to sacrifice either a Planeswalker or a creature, so we'll have to counter that, unfortunately. Would like to have saved the mana drain for the what's it called? The Scarab God. Oh, and our opponent has a counter spell as well, so that will draw us a card. We'll see if we draw into our own counter spell here. And we didn't. We got into a Bloodstained Mire. Now we get into Arcane of Denial. So we can actually... It's a really lucky top draw. Really lucky top deck draw off of all those instants and sorceries there. So we got pretty lucky there. Yeah, and our opponent scoops it up. That was a pretty lucky top deck. I think they should have carried on playing there. They could have played out the Scarab God next turn. Maybe once they saw us Mystic Retrieval for the mana drain, then it would be worthwhile scooping, but got Niv Mizzet out pretty quickly there, and you can see how much damage it can pile on. We got 5 commander damage in, and quite a few pings in there as well, plus some card draw from all the instants and sorceries being cast. So hope you saw the potential of Niv Mizzet Parun there. It is just really difficult to get out. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel, and thank you for watching. Niv Mizzet Parun versus Captain Sisay, another very powerful commander. I think we will keep that and hope that our opponent gets out some, or tries to get out some mana rocks past a Spell Pierce, or maybe they'll try and ramp up to Captain Sisay as soon as they can, make use of that Spell Pierce, and then worst case scenario we just go into a Wheel of Fortune and rebuild our hand. I'll see if we can counter some kind of Farseek or Nature's Law this turn. We want to keep Captain Sisay off the field as best we can. She can tap and search the library for a legendary card, reveal it, put it into the hand, and then shuffle the library. With the recent rules change, Planeswalkers are now legendaries, of course, so she can search for those. And we want to get as many islands into play as possible, because that is the most useful land type in this deck, because we run High Tide, and we can do shenanigans with that with High Tide and copy effects, untapping land effects, all that type of thing. See if our opponent can get down green here. They might have just kept a 2-land hand with 2 white sources, which... Okay, Mana Vault... That's tricky, because if they get down green they'll be able to get through Spell Pierce anyway with a Mana Vault, so I think we just have to Spell Pierce that. I'm not sure how useful that Mana Vault would have been to them apart from getting a spell past Spell Pierce. We'll just have to hope that our opponent doesn't get into any green mana. And if we don't draw into anything decent next turn, I think we're just going for a Wheel of Fortune. Okay, Mana Crypt. So, yeah, doing nothing with that. And we can... I think we'll just keep hold of this and try and make them play around counter magic. We have Chemist's Insight for the next turn, and then Time Warp after that, which will basically just be a means of playing out another land and drawing another card, but it's no problem having it in the graveyard because we have means of getting things back out of the graveyard again. Mystic Retrieval, and what was the other one? Call to Mind, I think it's called. Past in Flames. Oh, I'm getting out. Yeah, Gisela. I wonder if they have the Bruna as well. But Gisela's good on her own. Flying First Strike Lifelink, 4/3. Yeah, that's not terrible for 4 mana. We will go for the island. And do we want to Mystical Tutor next turn? We might just Chemist's Insight. And we can go for Mystical Tutor later on, maybe, for a Cyclonic Rift or something like that. Really try and slow our opponent down. Make them replay everything. And our opponent has been bolted on the Mana Crypt. Yeah, really struggling with green mana, so I'm not sure how soon I want to get into this wheel. And, Sword and Feast and Famine. Yeah, thankfully they can't equip that unless they get into a Sol Ring now. And they do not, so we can Chemist's Insight. And then might have to put a stop on our upkeep to Mystical Tutor for something. Fact or Fiction doesn't do anything. We can just Time Warp next turn, I think. We'll put a stop on the upkeep, and Misty Rainforest will grab us a Volcanic Island. And then we'll Time Warp ourselves. Gain an extra turn. And then do we want to get into... I think we could go for Cryptic Command here. It feels bad not cantripping with Cryptic Command, but it might cost them some time. In fact, it will cost them time. We'll go for... We could Devastation Tide the next turn and just take a hit. I think I don't mind that, to be honest. It gets rid of more things. We'll just go for that. That unfortunately does mean that we can't go for a Chemist's Insight or a Fact or Fiction. But we can get the Devastation Tide on the go. So, what's going on here? Yes, we do want to do that. That'll be 2 mana. And we play a Mountain, and we could wheel those good cards away and try and get them into green. This might keep them from conceding, so I don't mind doing this. It gets us a fresh grip, and it also might get our opponent into some green mana. I don't want them to concede too soon, to be honest. And at the same time, I wonder if we did actually cause them to concede there. Surely they drew into more green mana there. But we did manage to get rid of a Mana Crypt and a sword from their hand. I can't see them relying on that too much, to be honest. So perhaps they were just really unlucky and didn't draw into more green sources. Just unlucky on our opponent's part there. I don't think that really counts as a real win. I'll splice this onto another video. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for your continued support. I know a lot of people are still continuing to thumbs up. I imagine it's a select few individuals, so the people who are giving the thumbs up and leaving good comments and all that, I very much appreciate it. It helps me, it helps drive me to keep doing this. It is quite time consuming, and yeah, it's very kind for people to reach out and say good things, so it isn't going unnoticed. I do appreciate it. So please keep it coming, keep it going. It's like I say, it just spurs me on, and it just makes me feel as though what I'm doing is actually worthwhile and is actually entertaining and hopefully enjoyable for people. So as I say, I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel, and I thank you very much for your continued support, and I thank you for watching.